I'm here with Tim Spicer, Spicer's Music in Alabama. First, tell me about, I know you mentioned to me in the past that there's been, that you're seeing some changes in online lessons and what you've been doing with your foot traffic down right now.
Sure. We have been, we've made the switch, I guess it's been about 3 weeks ago now I take that back. This is our fourth week that we've made the switch to virtual lessons, and have initially noticed a pretty quick dip in our lesson enrollment, and lesson attendance, that kind of stuff, as the news broke of all of this and as people came into their initial panic stage. But we were able to release some calming videos and do a lot of social media stuff, try to get out ahead of it as much as we could through email and all of our communication channels, and have since noticed an uptick back in retaining our current lessons, but then also an opportunity to get into some new markets and some new students that we're too far away to travel into the store on a general basis.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I know mentioning how long this year has been. It's been really tough for everybody. You could try for help through the CARES Act, but you can't be guaranteed that you're going to get that money. Everyone's going after that same funding.
Sure.
So, what would be you've had some time to look at this. So what would be your game plan right now if you're a retailer and you're concerned? I mean, what something that you should do?
Sure. Well, we are, as I'm sure the majority of other businesses in the country, definitely going after that CARES Act fund and the PPP to be able to continue payroll expense and forgivable loan, everything like that. Because there is so much uncertainty of that. I mean, there definitely are some fears associated with that. We met yesterday as a team and have been meeting just to try to figure out, I feel like the first couple of weeks, it was just like a season of putting out fires. Every day there was a new fire that was blazing that you had to put out, that was happening in real time, and trying to make decisions of, can you stay open? Can you not stay open? How are things looking right now as our state gets shut down and everything else that occurs? I feel like this is the first week that we've been able to like kind of settle down and to kind of take a breath and realize that the immediate fires have been put out at this point. And so now, how are we looking forward to a potential continuation of slow or alternate business for the next few months to the year potentially. And so figuring out summer camps, how's that going to look? Talking about retail sales. We do a huge fall kickoff party, an annual thing where we have 400 or 500 people in the store. So obviously we're going to have to rethink how that's structured. We're already trying to talk and discuss, what's Black Friday going to look like? What are Christmas sales going to look like? Is there going to be a second wave that's going to hit? And if so, how can we be a little more prepared? I think there's a lot of uncertainty in that. And although it's not helpful to sit and panic and fear about it, it is helpful to project as much as we can, knowing that what we know now, and completely be prepared that everything we plan could be out the window in the first 30 minutes of tomorrow as it occurs. So amidst the challenge, I think we're all going to have to continue to rethink how we do business, and we're going to have to continue to be creative and work together. I know I have leaned on Mike and Miriam Risco at Mike Risco's Music heavily for the virtual lessons. I've been in contact with Melissa Loggins and Joel Minchie and Dave Waters. I mean, I think the positives that we have right now is that we're literally all in this together, and it doesn't matter if we're competitors or if we're not. Everybody's experienced the same pains and everybody's experiencing the same challenges. And so how can we work together collaboratively to find unique and creative ways to not only just stabilize our business, but how can we look for opportunities right now that may be available that we can, increase. I think that's a real thought.
Yeah, I mean, for one, I'm certainly concerned about the summer camps. Boy, I mean, I know my kids at home, so, and my wife is definitely concerned about it. But it's, I guess finally, I guess it's kind of a two-part question. I assume there could be a second wave. However, there definitely could be. However, I think that your store is not going to be closed the whole year. I would say it's highly unlikely.
Right.
They're probably going to let you open up your business, in most states anyway. So part one, what are you going to do to make sure that customers feel comfortable when they're there, make sure that everything, cleanliness, what are you going to do with that? And the second part would be, once we do get out of this, at some point, do you feel pretty confident that the consumer is going to be coming back and wanting to spend money, and are you optimistic about that part?
Sure. To answer your first question, we yesterday discussed as a team what our store layout needed to look like. We have a very, comfortable Southern eclectic style right now, and everything's really homey, and there's seating around and couches, and our lesson waiting area, everybody's kind of grouped together, and there's, the whole idea is to have people communicate and build relationships and that kind of stuff. And we're probably gonna have to rethink that right now, to rethink store layout and how, the customer flow meanders through our store, and be aware of, space between customers and between lesson parents, and how the whole layout is structured of our store. I don't have, the magic bullet answer for that yet, but that is one thing that we are looking at is, how do you clean and disinfect instruments that are very fragile, and you can't just spray them down with Lysol cleaner and walk away because of the finish and everything else. So we're trying to figure that out right now, but that is something that we're definitely aware of. The second part of your question about our customers going to come back and be just as strong as ever, I do think so. In fact, I do believe that we will come out of this having more customers than we went in. I think that one thing that's been pretty prevalent across the world is that music and the arts have been really a focal point, from the people singing on the balconies in Italy to, everybody that's looking at music lessons and music instruction. I mean, I really do think that we're going to come out of this with more customers around the world than when we went into it. However, I also am expecting it to take some time to fully regain the strength. There are some, the unemployment charts, I think I heard, was it 6.6 million last year or last week alone, and I think 10 million in the past 2 weeks, not including this week already, that have filed for unemployment, which is just astronomical. And so, although I do know that there are, some government and some legislation, some funding that is supposed to be trickling down, that may take a while, and it may not come to everybody. And so, people's bills and expenses are still occurring. And so it's going to take some time, I think, to rebuild that. The initial projections were that, this was going to be a seasonal thing. The country and the world will be back up and rocking at the end of the year. And I'm not fully convinced of that yet. So I think we do need to be realistically thinking ahead and looking at cash flow and looking at budgeting and looking at alternate revenue sources and, payment plans for customers, or what can we do to get creative to continue that revenue stream.
Okay. Well, thanks, Tim. I really appreciate your help, and thanks for coming on with us and providing some great insights.
Absolutely. Yeah.